Set to start. Okay.
Oh, let's just make sure the mics turn on.
Okay.
Hello, Gene. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. Sounds great. All right. Well, good evening. Good evening, everybody. We're here for the meeting of the Danvers Planning Board. It's January 13th, 2026. A little bit past 7 o'clock. We're here at Town Hall in the Toomey Room. And my name's Louis George. I'm the chair, and I'm joined here today. I'm joined virtually by Jean Hartnett, who's our clerk. Also joined today in person by our members, Michael DeCoulis and Jim Sears. And Josh Morris is here for the Town of Danvers, Principal Planner with the Town of Danvers. And because we do have one person participating remotely today, we will need to take any votes by a roll call vote. And so I do have the agenda here. And just before we begin on the agenda, I just wanted to take a moment just to acknowledge the passing of Andrea Daly. She was a follower. She and her husband were frequent followers and watchers of our planning board meetings. She was also a long-term town meeting member, over 40 years as a town meeting member, and also served not on the planning board, but served on our zoning board of appeals for quite a few years, particularly in the 1970s and 80s. And I believe she was the first woman to actually serve as a member of the zoning board of appeals. She passed away just before the new year. And I just wanted to acknowledge, her passing and really all that she had done for the town during her life. In addition to her volunteer activities, she also served as a teacher for the Danvers Public Schools. So I just wanted to extend condolences to Mr. Daly and her family. So then I want to just now move on to our agenda. So our agenda, first item on the agenda is our public hearing for 200 Endicott Street. It's a request for site plan review submitted by Raising Cane's Restaurants, LLC, for property at 200 Endicott Street, map 62, lot 5, pursuant to section 4, site plan review of the zoning bylaw. Said property is in the commercial C3 zoning district. The applicant proposes a standalone restaurant with a drive-through and associated site modifications. And we have a notation here about a request for a continuance to the January 27th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. The applicant is here. Can you just introduce yourself and introduce your request?
Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Raising Cane's Restaurants, LLC. And we have been working with staff since the last meeting to finalize the traffic review and to work on draft conditions for approval for the board's consideration. And we are in that process, and we think we're getting close. So we think we can wrap that up in time for the next meeting, which would be January 27th. So we're requesting a continuance until that time. Okay.
Okay, so it's request so that'd be 2 weeks till our next meeting, January 27th. Okay. All right, very good. Any questions by members of the board?
Nope.
Okay, Jim? No? Jean, any questions at all with respect to that?
No questions.
Okay. And just Josh, in terms of town staff, is that, in terms of the agenda, that looks good for our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I have no questions. So I'd like to entertain a motion.
I motion to continue to the, January 27th meeting?
Yep.
Yep.
If you could maybe say the address or the application.
Sorry. I don't have it in front of me, sorry.
It's just 200 Endicott Street.
200 Endicott Street to the January 27th meeting.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mike DeCoulis to continue the public hearing on 200 Endicott Street site plan review. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Jim Sears. Okay, I will call a roll. Any further discussion, by the way, on the motion? Okay, hearing none. I'll call the roll. Mike DeCoulis?
Yes.
Jim Sears?
Yes.
Jean Hartnett?
Yes.
And I say yes. So motion passes. Okay, so it's continued to the January 27, 2026 Planning Board meeting. Okay, so our next agenda item is the public hearing on 83 Elm Street and 5 Essex Street. Request for site plan review submitted by MJP Properties, Inc. and Johnson Construction Management, LLC for properties at 83 Elm Street, map 51, lot 250, and 5 Essex Street, map 51, lot 249, pursuant to Section 4, Site Plan Review of the zoning bylaw. Said properties are in the Danvers Town Center Core, DTCC zoning district. The applicant is proposing a redevelopment of the properties with mixed-use building consisting of first-floor commercial space and 13 residential units on the upper floors and associated site modifications. So I have here that the applicant requests a continuance to the March 10th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. So Attorney McCann, is that?
Thank you very much. I'm here on behalf of the applicants, Nancy McCann again for the record, and we are requesting a continuance for 2 months to your meeting of March 10th. We have, as I've indicated in the letter, there has a title issue related to the partial release of mortgage that is out of the developer's control that we're trying to get resolved before the applicant moves forward with making the final changes to the site plan for submission to the board. So it's a bit of a complicated deal how this is structured, just between the developer team and the current owner of the property. This original special permit was granted back in July. At that time, the development, as approved by this board, was reduced by 3 units, from 16 units down to 13 units, which has a dramatic impact on the pro forma for the development, but that's been worked through. The decision, although the vote was taken in July, the planning board's decision wasn't filed with the town clerk until September, which means the appeal period didn't expire until October, 3rd week of October. So we really didn't know whether we had a final decision without appeal until that time. The applicant, although there was still that outstanding issue, they were going forward with the pro forma, trying to make sure that things would work. What would have to change on the site plan, if anything, in order to make that work with the building, have to be a little bit smaller. So those are still in process. There were some comments from the engineering department that had to be addressed. And so the applicant now determined, again, with the change in the economic upside of the project, let's just put it that way, with the reduced number of units, how much more money is going to be put into the site plan review process until the developer controls the property. So that's where this all starts to intermingle into the partial release.
Okay.
So,
Because I was wondering how what the title had to do
yeah,
with it.
well, there are currently 2 units on the site. So to get really into the weeds on what has to happen here is that the existing site has to be condoed based on those 2 units with a phase development for the additional units. So, and then the developer would purchase one of the units. The current owner is going to remain in one of the units. And in order to get that unit that's going to the developer under the current situation, there's got to be a partial release of mortgage. That's where the rub is right now, is what's the lender that currently holds the mortgage going to be requiring for a payoff for that partial release. So we've got a number of things in play here. We have a downsized project that affects the pro forma. We have the developer weighing how much more to put into the site plan review preparation, and there's not a lot of changes, but there are some, putting into that process before he controls the site. And we think that issue with regard to the partial release and whether the close on that condo aspect can go forward, should be able to be resolved by the March 10th meeting, and allowing us to do the changes to the site plan. So that's the reason for it.
Sure.
It's a little complicated, it's a little unusual, but that's it.
So just to be, before I just this clarifying question, so the developer then would be looking at controlling, so the owner would control one part of the property, and would the developer control all of the additional units?
Yes. The current owner would control one unit, the dental office. The rest, the other unit that's there now, I used to have the bank, that's going to be owned by the developer, together with the development rights for the additional phases. So the condominium documents will be a two-condo, which it is now, with a phase in of additional units.
Okay, and so in order to do all that, that's why you're seeking the additional time, just knowing that you've already sought it, a fair amount of time already.
Right.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to turn it over to the board if they have questions with respect to the motion. Jim?
I'm just skeptical. I mean, obviously, this has been going on for probably a year in planning, and typically, as you know, when you go to buy a project, you run the title before you purchase it. So I'm sure they knew there was a mortgage on there, and this step had to be done. So for this to come up as a reason for a 9-month or 8-month delay now seems a little disingenuous. Because I'm in the field, as you know.
Yep.
And I know that they knew that they would have had to do that. And why wouldn't they have gotten the number back, years,
yeah.
almost a year ago? Or at least had the conversation with the current lender, and I'm not, this is something that happens. They know that there's this debt, and typically the bank would want to get all of it paid, but because they're staying there, they're going to allow them a certain amount for partial release, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just
But,
seems,
but I guess I do have to say, it hasn't been 8 or 9 months. The appeal period was up in October.
No, but
And then
they-
we have the holidays,
Okay.
and then we have,
they
and,
knew about the mortgage being on the property probably last year.
Oh,
When they,
certainly. But
So they did know they need to
there
get
was
this.
a weighing of the risk and the upside to that risk when they were going to get 16 units. Now,
no one's,
when they're
no
only
one
getting
guaranteed them
13.
16.
Absolutely not.
They knew by right they could get 11, I believe,
11.
and they got 13.
They
So-
got 13 units, and that changes the upside, which changes the amount of risk that the developer wants to take before he controls the property. And so it is,
Yeah.
it is unusual, but the appeal period wasn't up until middle of October, and they're going to be moving forward, but they have this issue with the payoff, and hopefully they will get that resolved within this time period that we are requesting.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Any questions from Jean Hartnett?
No questions.
Okay. Mike DeCoulis, questions?
I just have one question, and I'm sorry I didn't do my due diligence, and maybe, Josh, you can help me out a little bit, but I know that there were a couple other continuances. I don't know if this is the second or third or fourth one. I don't know if anyone knows off the top of their head.
It's
But-
probably 4 or 5,
What-
but
So this one sounds like it was for the reason that you're stating now. The other 3 or 4, were they for the same reason, but we just weren't aware of that, or were there other I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, to Jim's point, like, there's obviously been a long process. I know you're saying October now, but the decision was from August, and I'm just trying to understand, like, where that all kind of played out, and if you could explain that a little bit.
After the vote on 13 units, there was a period of time where the pro forma had to be reviewed and to determine, do we even have a project? And that took some time. So there were some continuances, one or at least during that period of time when they were really trying to decide whether they could go forward with this project at all.
Yeah.
Then that decision was made. Yes, we can, but we've got to make some changes to the building, and we have to, and do we want to let the engineer go and the architect go on making those revisions? Well, let's figure out what we have to do with the partial release, and how soon can we control the property? And my client certainly would have wanted to control the property before now, and is ready to close on the property, but can't do that until current lender, and it is a sizable mortgage on the property right now, the current lender says how much that partial release is going to cost.
Yeah, no, the statement now makes sense. I understand that. It's just there seemed to be
Yeah.
3 or 4 continuances before this, before we heard anything about this, which is more what I'm questioning now than I am this one, I guess. But because I mean, when we go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, Mike, just for information purposes, this is the third, just the third.
Oh,
Third
okay,
continuance.
third total.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's different than 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good news. Because I mean, and again, I'm sure it was just in the moment of the meeting, but in the meeting in July or August, whenever that was, there was a comment about the building not changing.
Right,
Even if we
and that was
changed-
certainly hoped, and then you do the pro forma and you find
Oh,
out
yeah, no, I
the
totally
dollars,
understand.
gee, we better shave a bit off of this.
I imagine that
here
was
or
just a
there.
heat of the moment comment during a meeting, but it just,
Yeah,
so.
it could have, and that was the intent, was, well, we don't really have to change this
Yeah.
until you put the pencil to the paper.
I
And you've
understand.
lost 3 units, which is probably all of your profit, and now you got to
Yep.
figure out where the money's going to come from.
Yep, no, I understand.
And that usually involves making the building smaller.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't, I have not seen the plans that make that change.
Sure, okay. Yeah, that's my only comment, I guess. Thank you.
Just a question, and again, this is more of a question maybe for, I'm wondering for staff, I guess a question with respect to the recording of Attorney McCann mentioned that there was a delay. Could you
Yeah,
sort of
so
walk
just
through
when-
just sort of what,
Yeah. So just you have once to file a decision is 90 days after the public hearing's closed. So at that time, there was the belief or the thought process that the site plan would be voted, voted on or approved, at a following meeting or two. We were trying to just line it up so that they would be at the same time. The appeal period would be at both. All of the conditions in both would be the same, and it just, everything being equal, it's much cleaner, right? They're just filed on the same day. They have all the same conditions. All the plans in it are the same, referenced. So everything being equal, we were just trying to line it up.
I say,
So that was the reason. It's generally not what happens. We are afforded the opportunity, we are afforded 90 days after the close of the public hearing to file the decision. We didn't even go, I think, even past 70 or 80. We were just trying to, we were basically just trying to line it up.
so I guess that was the idea, trying to line it up.
Yeah.
If the town was aware, not saying that
Sure.
the applicant knew this, but if the town was aware that this would be, that the site plan would be continuing further, then probably would have been filed
Yeah.
sooner.
Correct. Yes. Yep. Which is generally what, within 10 days of the meeting. Yes, that was not common. That is not a common situation. We were just, that was the rationale.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it, okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions, I guess, just, it's more just of a, and I appreciate you sort of explaining where we're at and sort of what's leading to this, just because this has been, so we've been carrying this on our docket for a little while. It's just sort of, I'd like to, know more in terms of what's going on, in terms of, so I appreciate you coming here and explaining sort of where things stand. That all being said, I guess I'm not gonna, I guess I can't say that this is the absolute positively last extension you'll be seeking, is that? You couldn't,
I can't say that.
sure, okay.
I can't say that, but I can certainly say, if you grant the extension to March 10th as requested, I'll come back on March 10th and I'll explain if I need more and why and what's going on at that time.
Right. Because I know even when we granted the last one, we were sort of concerned in terms of where we were going. And I think we even asked for a report, like sort of a progress report and sort of where things stood.
I don't recall that, but
Didn't we?
It was sort of I think what is alluding to is that we would have this sort of, at that time, the request from November to January was,
that I would be here.
yes, or
And
just
here I am.
provided a narrative to the board, like what's happening and an update. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. Okay, any further questions at all or comments? Okay. Josh, anything further from town?
No, no.
All right, so we have, so what we have right now is we do have a request for by the applicant for a continuance to the March 10th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. Would someone like to make a motion?
Move to continue the application for 83 Elm Street and 5 Essex Street to our meeting of March 10th, 2026.
Okay. A motion's been made by Jim Sears to continue the matter of 83 Elm Street and 5 Essex Street to March 10th, 2026.
Second.
Second? Second by Michael DeCoulis. Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a roll call vote for those in favor. First of all, Mike DeCoulis,
Yes.
Jean Hartnett,
Yes.
Jim Sears,
Yes.
and I say yes as well. So motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good luck. See you on March 10th. Okay, so our next agenda item here are our meeting minutes. So you should have all received our minutes here from the November 12th, 2025 meeting. So let's see here, and it looks like everybody was, looks like we had everybody present. Jim Sears was not present at the meeting. So has anyone had the opportunity to review the the minutes?
I reviewed them. They look good to me. The only comment I have is the name of the PDF had the wrong date. It had November 25th, 2025. So, but other than that, they're fine.
Okay,
Catch, Gene.
good catch.
Yeah.
All right, so we have very good. So so we have just one minor change in terms of the title of the document. But Jean, were you moving for approval?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good. So Jean Hartnett has moved to.
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I make a motion we approve the meeting minutes from November 12th, 2025.
Okay, very good. Motion's been made by Jean Hartnett. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Mike DeCoulis. I'll call a roll call vote. Mike DeCoulis?
Yeah. Yes. Aye. Sorry.
Yes, okay. Jean Hartnett?
Yes.
Jim Sears?
Abstain.
Abstain. Lou George says yes. Okay, so the motion to approve the minutes passes 3 with one abstention. Okay, very good. So that is it for our agenda, our set agenda for today's meeting. Our next meeting is Tuesday, January 27th. Josh, can you tell us what
Yep.
we have coming up on the agenda? I know from even reviewing the last minutes, we have some additional matters that we wanted to be covering. I think, housing production plan, potentially some, Liberty Tree Mall. Can you kind of give hum a few bars on
Yep.
what's coming up next?
Yep. So January 27th, there will very likely be an A&R application for an address in the Folly Hill area. Also, the site plan for 200 Endicott Street, Raising Cane's, that was continued from this meeting to that meeting. There will also be another application for 98 Newbury Street, which is an expansion of 24 mobile homes at this existing mobile home park. And
Have they come to us before, or that may be a different address?
it was a different mobile home park, I believe. I
Okay,
believe
on
what you're
Newbury Street.
referring to is 103 Newbury, and I believe it's that was in 2023, and that was on Route 1 North, and this is on Route 1 South.
Route 1 South, okay.
And as you mentioned, I'd be happy to provide a summary or update on some of the more like long-range planning, items, initiatives, as you mentioned, such as the housing production plan, when that would come in front of the board, and kind of like a timeline of that, and then an update on Liberty Tree Mall, and a couple of the other items that we had previously discussed.
Right, so I'd like to have that as an agenda item.
Yeah,
A
yep.
formal agenda item, so
Yep.
we could talk about those.
Yep,
Okay.
they will be.
Great. Okay. Very good. Anything further by any members?
The only thing I would mention, before you talk about Liberty Tree Mall, there's several areas of potholes that were not addressed before the end of the season. I don't know, the weather hasn't been too bad this past week or two, but if there's a way they could address the pothole sections in
Is
front
there-
of
Is there an area? in
M&T
par-
Bank,
in
there's
particular?
a ton of potholes.
Jim, when you say that,
M&T Bank on Federal Street, the Federal Street section, and they did
Yeah.
some utility work in front of Liberty Tree Medical Center on Constitution, which has a
Yeah.
lot of, like, open areas. So there's a lot of hazards out there that have not been addressed. It should at least be patched before. I don't think we're gonna make it through this winter with those substantial holes. They keep getting bigger.
Yeah, we were just driving on them yesterday on some of the perimeter roads, just, and it was really,
the ring road,
yeah, it's like you're just going back, it's a,
Yeah, it's really bad.
landmines.
yeah.
Getting worse every day.
Okay. So,
Yeah, if we can hopefully get that addressed.
is there anything open in terms of with respect to that? I know that since we've had them, like when we've had, when we've had before, like Chick-fil-A has come
Right.
before us, we've had certain, requirements that they,
Yeah, we are in communication with the property owner there, and once they're kind of on like a yearly like maintenance like schedule, and when things like are brought to our attention, and/or sometimes they just already know, like for instance, they recently did the entrance and exit from Endicott Street. They, that was recently like redone. So they're aware-ish that the stuff needs to occur, and they are on like a yearly maintenance like program. But we can reach out and sort of highlight the areas of concern for sure.
I think it's being brought to your attention.
Yeah. So
Quite obvious.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else, Jim?
That's it.
Mike, anything you wanted?
All set, thanks.
Jean, anything on your end?
Nope, I'm all set.
Josh, anything further?
Not at this time. No.
Okay, very good. Then I'd like to entertain hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Jim Sears. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Mike DeCoulis. Let's do a roll call. Mike DeCoulis?
yes.
Jim Sears?
Yes.
Jean Hartnett?
Yes.
And I say yes. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, well, have a good evening, everybody.
So
Thank you.